So I want to cast your minds back before we get into this review, all the way back to 2016. A time where I absolutely hated school, a time where my hair looked absolutely terrible, and a time where the DCEU gave us Harley Quinn in a terrible way. Yeah, I'm talking about Suicide Squad. You see, that movie is renowned as being just a complete and total mess with too many characters, not enough focus on the Joker, and overall just a lack of any sort of direction. Well, I'm happy to report that Birds of Prey took all of that negativity and just completely garbage storytelling and threw it out the window and actually made something that was pretty interesting and fun. Hey guys, my name is DJ, and about a week ago, I'll admit I am a little bit late to this, but about a week ago, Harley Quinn Birds of Prey came out, and it was actually a lot of fun. As I said in the little snippet before, the little intro card, the Birds of Prey movie was actually quite interesting for a number of reasons. One major reason being that they took the entire idea of Suicide Squad and just made sure never to mention it, burn in hell, it sucked. Like, they did mention the entire plot of the movie word for word via dialogue from Harley Quinn. However, they did decide kind of to just sweep it under the rug. Sure, there were some Easter eggs, like Captain Boomerang was sort of mentioned. But overall, it was actually a fairly standalone film. You see, in Birds of Prey, the entire movie is based upon Harley Quinn and how she is kind of grieving over the loss of her relationship with the Joker, okay, trying to figure out what to do in Gotham now that she's broken up with the clown Prince of Crime, okay, she's going around acting all loony and crazy and oh, it's so kooky and wacky, but in the end, it is a really sad tale. I mean, Harley Quinn, she was abused by the Joker for years. She was even starting to make her own little group with Suicide Squad. Sure, many people didn't like the film, but in the DCEU, she was actually starting to become happy before, well, the Joker came in again, and then, I guess, kicked her out of a building, is what it seemed like from the movie. That's kind of what they showed in the little snippet in the beginning, little cartoon thing. So Harley Quinn was actually starting to, have a positive outlook on life before the Joker came back. And then she has to get over this abusive relationship. It is kind of sad to see Harley Quinn like this. I mean, sure, of course she gets better over time, but I do like that part of it. However, just at the start of the movie, just seeing her grieve for this relationship, okay, having her heart broken by a guy who would literally break her heart, and I don't mean that emotionally, I mean that physically, is a bit sad. But this kind of character study about Harley Quinn and her relationship with the Joker actually made it a bit interesting. I mean, I kind of got some vibes from the Joker movie that recently came out. Now, trust me, before I say anything, I'm definitely not comparing the two via quality. Okay, Joker absolutely surpasses this movie in terms of just how good it is. I mean, for one, they don't have Joaquin Phoenix and his amazing acting throughout that entire movie. However, I will say this. Watching through the movie and seeing how Harley Quinn changes and how we get to kind of take in her character finally without having it be jumbled among a mess of DCEU bleh, did kind of turn this movie into one that's kind of like a character study for Harley Quinn. Okay, we kind of got to see the character of Harley Quinn come to life on the screen. Okay, she's not really sadistic like the Joker, sure. Okay, we saw that sadistic side of the clowns in that Joker movie. Okay, he was very cold and methodical, and sure, he might have laughed at stuff, but at the end of the day, he was truly a monster. No, when it comes to Harley Quinn, it's kind of difficult to see her as a monster sometimes. Sure, she might have broken people's legs and absolutely killed people, but it's kind of different with her. It almost feels childlike, if that makes sense, as opposed to feeling as though she's like the Joker, which is completely psychotic and sadistic and destructive and hates everything almost, and then laughs at everything. No, Harley Quinn's always kind of felt like a weird victim of the Joker, which kind of makes her feel a bit more innocent than the Joker. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily the right word to use. However, there is more of a childlike craziness to her, if that makes sense. Okay, she's kind of just a bit kooky, a bit emotional, as opposed to the Joker, who has no emotion other than laughter and destruction. So yeah, I think getting this kind of look into her fun and kooky and crazy personality is kind of a lot more fun than the Joker, because the Joker is very dark and demented, as opposed to Harley Quinn, who's dark and demented, but in a smiley kind of way. However, I did just mention the idea of Harley Quinn breaking legs and killing people, and I'll say this right now, and you can quote me on this. After watching this movie, the DCEU has way better fight scenes than the MCU. Everything felt incredibly powerful, almost in a cartoony and comedic way. I mean, the entire movie felt like a live-action cartoon come to life, and if the DCEU were to keep on doing that, I would not oppose it at all. Okay, the MCU, it doesn't necessarily have that cartoon quality. It definitely feels very much as though it's taking place in the real world. You know, if Captain America was in the real world, what would this be? If Iron Man was in the real world, what would this be? If Spider-Man was in the real world, what would this look like? You know, it feels very real world as opposed to the DCEU, where it's definitely starting to become a lot more like a live-action cartoon, especially from the fight scenes. However, let's go back to the actual story of the Birds of Prey. One thing that I really did like about this movie, and I'm not just gonna keep saying good things about the movie, however, it was a really fun movie, so there's a lot of good things to say about it. Something I did like about the movie was that everybody was kind of weirdly connected before, you know, the Birds of Prey even took form. You know, it didn't feel very forced. Like, if you look at the Avengers, not to keep comparing it to the MCU, but if you look at the Avengers, they're not really connected. They're kind of put into a team, as opposed to these guys who, or should I say these gals, who all connected via previous encounters, you know, like Harley Quinn related to Kane because she has to kill her due to Black Mask, okay? And then Kane is also connected to Black Canary, who's connected to the police officer, Lady Mahoney, and there's, like, everybody felt kind of weirdly connected, where if you look at most other superhero team movies, they don't really do that. Not to keep, you know, ragging on Suicide Squad, but Suicide Squad, they were kind of just all put into a team. And even, you know, the Justice League were kind of just all put into a team together. There was never really any sort of natural way these guys all teamed up together. So seeing this in Birds of Prey when they all teamed up together was actually pretty interesting. However, you might have noticed that I did not mention one specific character. And that character was Huntress. Now look, Huntress is kind of the worst part of the movie. Whereas everybody else kind of naturally fit into this whole group together, Huntress was kind of a very forced entry into the Birds of Prey team at the end of the movie. Like, as I was mentioning, okay, Harley Quinn's kind of connected to Cassie Kane, who's connected to to Black Canary chick, who's connected to the police officer woman. I keep forgetting her name. I think it's Mahoney. Anyways, they're all connected, right? Okay, those four kind of feel like the four that should be connected. But then you kind of have Huntress, who is there for, like, almost no reason. Like, I get the whole idea is that she wants to kill everybody in the family. She's kind of connected to, or like in the family, I should say, in like the rival gang of her family who killed them when she was a kid. But then she also wants to kill Zaz, which, oof, okay. Zaz is like one of my favorite supervillains, and it sucks that he dies in this. But moving on. So, she kind of kills Zaz, which also felt kind of forced. Like, Zaz was a part of that whole group that killed her family because I don't know. I don't know if it was meant to be taken as a big reveal or not. That's kind of not good, in my opinion. Like, he shows up, and in a flashback, it shows that he killed her family, but, like, it felt forced, and it kind of sucked. And trust me, Huntress is a cool person. I think Huntress, as a character, could be very interesting. However, they called this movie Birds of Prey, And I get that, you call it Birds of Prey, you have to have Huntress in there. But, I don't know. It just didn't feel right. Okay, Huntress being there didn't click. They even kind of are like, what are you doing here? When they first see her. They're like, oh, who are you? You're the crossbow killer. Why are you here? And then she has to make the joke, like, no, I'm Huntress. But it's like, you shouldn't be here with either name. Like, it felt so weird to have her in this movie. However, there is kind of like a nitpick to it. Like, I get the reasoning behind her wanting to kill Zsasz and ending up being there at the end of the movie where they all teamed up. But it I don't know. It wasn't good. Okay, the movie was doing really good up until, like, Huntress was starting to get a bit more into the movie. And she definitely felt almost last minute to be in the movie as well. Like, she was kind of only there within the last hour or so. And, like, I get the idea of her being there in the beginning with the diamond thing, but I don't know, man. I'm conflicted, because I really want Huntress in the DCEU, because I think she's really cool, but I don't think this was the best way to introduce her. Now that she's also killed everybody that she wants to kill. She's done it. The entire enemy family, it's happened. They're dead. She killed them. She won. And, like, that's not played on at all in the movie. Like, they really do nothing with that. Which is weird. I believe that this almost felt like Huntress as a movie was crammed into this Harley Quinn based movie. Like, imagine if Huntress had her whole movie to herself and killed the entire family in her movie, as opposed to, kinda just killing them in the Harley Quinn movie. And then she's like, in one line, oh my god, I killed the family. And then immediately cuts to the rest of the movie. It didn't work for me. However, even though Huntress being there kind of sucked, I will say the entire movie was kind of a lot of fun, okay? It was a very different superhero kind of movie, or supervillain kind of movie, if you want to call it that. Okay, the DCEU is kind of doing some interesting stuff right now. I mean, they're going to have a freaking vampire become Batman. The DCEU is kind of becoming a very interesting place. Okay, Shazam, Aquaman, those have all been bangers, okay? And then you got, no more Superman, no more Ben Affleck, kind of the two worst parts of the DCEU, so now they have to reintroduce everything. I don't know, I feel like the DCEU was in shambles, maybe in like 2014-ish, okay? It was like really like, wow, this sucks. But ever since like Aquaman, and then Shazam, and then now Birds of Prey, it's actually kind of looking up, and I'm very excited for the rest of the DCEU. But yeah, anyways, what did you guys think of the movie? Did you guys like it? Let me know down in the comments below. And then while you're down there, considering I don't want to do the whole outro card thing for this video, while you're down there, if you guys want to subscribe to the channel, then that would mean a lot to me. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, of course, comment down there as well, like, all that good stuff. And yeah, hit the bell, of course, all that other YouTube garbage. It's all YouTube freaking garbage. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.